Over the last few weeks, the stark hypocrisy of the GOP has become more apparent than ever. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson has been at the center of this, especially regarding his contradictory stance on private citizens and the role of Congress in investigating their actions. Mike Johnson and many of his Republican colleagues have made it clear that Hunter Biden, despite being a private citizen, deserves the full attention of Congress for allegations of personal misconduct, even if they don't involve any criminal activity. Johnson has loudly advocated for an exhaustive investigation into Hunter Biden's actions, calling for the American people to know the full story. In fact, he seemed to believe that it didn't matter if Biden was a private citizen, stressing that the American people had a right to know everything, no matter how personal or irrelevant to the public office Hunter Biden never held. Yet, this same man, Mike Johnson, when confronted with the troubling past of Florida Representative Matt Gaetz and other figures nominated by Donald Trump, sings an entirely different tune. Despite the fact that Gaetz has been embroiled in a scandal involving child sex trafficking accusations that many Republicans, including Johnson, have chosen to ignore or even support, the GOP's response has been disturbingly inconsistent. Johnson himself has argued that Congress should not be involved in investigating private citizens, conveniently applying this view to Gaetz, who remains in office despite being the subject of multiple investigations into his alleged criminal behavior. This double standard goes far beyond just Matt Gaetz, however. The hypocrisy reaches into the highest echelons of Donald Trump's potential cabinet picks, many of whom have faced serious allegations, including sexual assault, yet still receive staunch backing from MAGA Republicans. Trump supporters have chosen to turn a blind eye to the accusations against these figures, prioritizing loyalty to Trump over accountability for alleged criminal actions. Trump's recent elections, such as his pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, have raised alarm among critics, especially when the allegations against him involve serious sexual assault claims. The case of Pete Hegseth: allegations and denials. Pete Hegseth, a former Fox News host and Trump ally, has been accused of sexual assault by a woman who alleges that Hegseth forced himself on her while she was unconscious. The incident allegedly occurred at a Republican women's conference, a troubling setting considering the circumstances. Despite the fact that this accusation is backed by a police report detailing the assault, many MAGA Republicans have come to Hegseth's defense, dismissing the claims as mere flirting. Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, for instance, has publicly defended Hegseth by mischaracterizing the police report, suggesting that it shows the woman was the aggressor. Mullin has gone so far as to claim that Hegseth wasn't even flirting with the woman but was involved with someone else entirely, a bizarre twist in an already troubling story. Even though the police report paints a different picture, one where the woman explicitly stated she said no numerous times, only to be overpowered, Mullin insists that no crime was committed. He claims that the woman was simply trying to flirt with Hegseth, despite the very clear nature of her account, which indicates otherwise. The victim's claim of being forced into a sexual act against her is troubling enough, but what is even more disturbing is the way Republicans like Mullin choose to downplay it or shift blame onto the victim. In addition to this, it has been reported that Hegseth made hush money payments to the victim, further complicating the narrative and raising more questions about his character. If the encounter truly was just a case of harmless flirting, as Mullin suggests, why would Hegseth feel the need to pay for the woman's silence? The Republican defense of Hegseth and others. MAGA Republicans, including Senators Bill Hagerty and Eric Schmidt, have rallied behind Hegseth, refusing to acknowledge the seriousness of the allegations. Hagerty, for instance, downplays the significance of the sexual assault claims, claiming they are irrelevant to Hegseth's qualifications to be Secretary of Defense. Instead, he focuses on the idea that Hegseth is the type of disruptor America needs in the Pentagon, one who will focus on the country's military needs and challenge the establishment. This line of thinking not only ignores the gravity of the accusations against Hegseth, but also reflects a dangerous trend in the GOP, a complete disregard for ethics and accountability when it comes to Trump's appointees. Hegseth, despite his lack of military leadership experience and the sexual assault allegations, is being pushed forward by Trump loyalists simply because he is seen as a loyal soldier in Trump's ongoing political war. This type of loyalty is what defines the current GOP, not integrity or moral consistency. A stark contrast. Democrats on the offense. As Republicans circle the wagons around figures like Hegseth and Gates, some Democratic leaders, such as Senator Tammy Duckworth, are speaking out against these nominees with clarity and moral conviction. Duckworth, a veteran with substantial military experience, expressed her concerns about Hegseth's fitness to lead the military, pointing to his troubling personal history, his lack of qualifications, and the sexual assault allegations against him. She made it clear that this is not just about politics. It's about ensuring the safety and integrity of the military and protecting the American people from leaders who may not have the moral compass needed to wield such immense power. Duckworth's message is a stark contrast to the GOP's embrace of Hegseth and other Trump nominees. While Republicans are quick to dismiss serious allegations or even offer full-throated support to individuals who should be scrutinized heavily, Democrats are pressing for accountability. Duckworth's call for transparency is not just a political statement. It's a reflection of what is necessary for the United States to maintain trust in its leadership, especially when national security and the integrity of its military are at stake. The bigger picture, Republicans and their family values narrative. The most striking aspect of the GOP's defensive figures like Matt Gaetz and Pete Hegseth is the blatant contradiction to the party's supposed values. The GOP has long positioned itself as the party of family values, moral clarity, and personal responsibility. Yet, when faced with allegations of sexual assault and misconduct against their own, many Republican leaders seem more willing to overlook or dismiss these accusations than to hold their colleagues accountable. This hypocrisy not only undermines the party's credibility, but also sends a dangerous message to the American public about what is acceptable behavior for those in power. This selective moral outrage is evident when comparing the GOP's treatment of Hunter Biden to their handling of figures like Gaetz and Hegseth. Hunter Biden's personal life has been the subject of intense scrutiny, with many Republicans calling for an investigation into his private actions, even when those actions have nothing to do with his father's presidency. Meanwhile, the same Republicans who have called for endless investigations into the Bidens remain silent or even supportive of figures within their own party who are accused of far more serious offenses, including sexual assault. The hypocrisy within the GOP is undeniable. As they rush to investigate Hunter Biden for allegations unrelated to his father's political career, they choose to protect Trump's allies and nominees, even when those individuals face serious accusations that should demand the same level of scrutiny. The American people deserve better than this blatant disregard for justice and accountability. As Democrats continue to raise their voices, it's clear that they must not only defend the integrity of the military, but also expose the dangerous double standards that continue to thrive within the Republican Party. This is not just about politics. This is about morality, ethics, and the safety of the American people. The GOP's actions speak volumes, and it is time for them to be called out for the hypocrisy they continue to perpetuate. The public deserves leaders who are held to the highest standards, regardless of political affiliation. The American people need to hold their representatives accountable, and Democrats must continue to push back against this dangerous political culture.